Good morning students. Today's topic is Solutions chapter part 4. This part includes how does a solution form? How does a solution form? And next one is about solubility. How does a solution form and solubility? First of all, we will see how does a solution form. So you take one solute sodium chloride. Sodium chloride. You know sodium chloride salt. Sodium chloride formula is NaCl. It has face-centered cubic structure like this, FCC. In sodium chloride, sodium and chloride ions are arranged in this way in FCC crystal. You take sodium chloride salt and drop this sodium chloride in a beaker containing water. Then what will happen? You know this one, sodium chloride is soluble in water. Why it is soluble in water? Why this sodium chloride forms solution with water? What will happen here? You will see. Solvent molecules attracted to surface ions. What are solvent molecules in this example? In this example, solvent molecule means water molecules. Water molecules attracted to surface ions. What are the ions? Sodium ion and chloride ion. So, this sodium ion and chloride ion, water molecules attracted towards sodium ion and chloride ion. That is point 1. Point 2, each ion is surrounded by solvent molecules. For example, sodium ion, Na plus ion is surrounded by water molecules. Similarly, Cl minus ion is also surrounded by water molecules. But Na plus positive charge is surrounded by minus negative ions. Cl minus is negative ion, so it is surrounded by positive ions. So you take sodium chloride solid, Na plus Cl minus ions, these ions attracted by water molecules, and finally Na plus becomes Na plus aqueous. Cl minus becomes Cl minus aqueous. If the solvent is water, the ions are hydrated. If solvent is water, Na plus Na plus solid is converted into Na plus aqueous, hydrated. It is called hydrated. The intermolecular force is here ion dipole. Na plus is ion, water is a dipole, ion dipole. The ions are solvated, that means surrounded by solvent. What type of force? Ion dipole. So you will see one by one. It is sodium chloride crystal. In sodium chloride crystal, sodium ion and chloride ions are oppositely charged ions are arranged. This is sodium chloride crystal. This sodium chloride crystal, when dissolved in water, so this sodium and chloride ions are attracted by water molecules. So that means each sodium Na plus ion is surrounded by negative charged, that means O ions. Similarly, Cl minus ion is surrounded by positive charge. You see here, each Na plus ion is surrounded by water molecules. From water molecules, which dipole is moving towards Na plus O minus plus is surrounded by O minus ions. Positive is surrounded by O minus ions. Negative is surrounded by H plus ions. That means one ion is surrounded by oppositely charged dipoles. So it is ion dipole attractions. Because of this ion dipole attractions, sodium chloride is soluble in water. So next one, we will see energy changes. How thermodynamics play a role in the dissolution process. So before this, you know already this definition in class 11th. What is enthalpy of solution? What is enthalpy of solution? You know enthalpy of formation, enthalpy of combustion. In this same way, enthalpy of solution. The amount of heat energy liberated or absorbed when 1 mole of solute is dissolved in excess of solvent is called enthalpy of solution. What is enthalpy of solution? The amount of heat liberated or absorbed when 1 mole of solute is dissolved in excess of solvent. It is called enthalpy of solution. It may be positive or negative. For some solute, you dissolve some magnesium sulfate solute. In that case, energy will liberate. You take ammonium chloride solute, energy will absorb. So the enthalpy of solution, delta H solution, can be either positive or negative. You will see first to determine the enthalpy change. Enthalpy change during formation of solution, there are 3 steps. In the formation of solution, there are 3 steps. First one is separation of solute particles. It is solute particles are joined together, you have to separate. For this separation, energy is needed, energy is required to separate solute particles. That energy, say it is delta H1. Second step is separation of solvent particles from solvent. So it is solvent medium. From this medium you have to make separate, because it needs some holes to enter this solute particles. So for this some energy is required. It is separation process. It needs energy. That energy is delta H2. In first step, energy is needed, that is delta H1, enthalpy, to separate solute particles from solute. Next, to separate solvent molecules, solvent particles from solvent medium, some energy is needed. That energy is delta H2. In the third step, this solute particles, already separated particles, here also already separated solvent particles, mixed together to form a homogeneous mixture, that is called solution. Formation of new interactions between solute and this is solvent. Solute and solvent mixed together forms a homogeneous mixture, that means solution. Formed in earlier case, separation, it needs energy. Here separation, it needs energy. Here solution formed. In this case, energy is released. That is delta H3 released, delta H1 absorbed, delta H2 absorbed. So these 3 steps. From this, it is step 1, spread from solvent particles separated, solute particles separated, both mixed together, solution formed, delta H1, delta H2, delta H3. The overall heat energy change, that is delta H solution, that means enthalpy of solution, is the resultant of these 3 steps. So delta H solution is equal to delta H1 plus delta H2 plus delta H3. So this type relation, from where you got, this is S law. S law means, what is S law? Whether a chemical reaction takes place in single step or in multi steps, the overall energy change is same. So it is one of the application of S law. Delta H solution, that means overall energy of solution, enthalpy of solution, is the resultant of delta H1 plus delta H2 plus delta H3. So what is exothermic solution? Exothermic solution means, in this case, you take magnesium sulfate. When you dissolve magnesium sulfate solute 1 mole in water, some energy is released. It is exothermic process. In this case, magnesium sulfate, 1 mole of magnesium sulfate. Here solute is magnesium sulfate. If you dissolve 1 mole of magnesium sulfate in excess of solvent, heat energy is released, liberated. So that's why it is enthalpy of solution is exothermic. So why it is exothermic means, here solute solvent attraction is stronger. You can see in this table also, here flow chart type, you can see solute solvent attraction is stronger. That means delta H3 is greater. Delta H3 is greater than the sum of delta H1 and delta H2. What is a solvent-solvent attraction here? Solvent-solvent attraction is delta H2. Solute-solute attraction is delta H1. So here delta H3 is greater than delta H1 and delta H2. Enthalpy absorbed is less, enthalpy released is more. So overall it is exothermic. Enthalpy of solution is exothermic. You can see second type, that is endothermic. In this case enthalpy of solution is positive. Why positive? Here solute solvent interaction is weaker. Solute solvent interaction is weaker than the solvent solvent and the solute. You see in this flow chart here, delta H1 and delta H2 individual, sum of delta H1 and delta H2 is greater than the overall enthalpy change delta H3. So here what is the example? Ammonium nitrate is an example for endothermic solution. Now it is the main topic in today's class, that is solubility. What is meant by solubility? The word itself here it is there, solute ability. Solubility means ability to dissolve, ability to make solution, ability. So how to define solubility? So the maximum amount of solute that can be dissolved in a specific amount of solvent at a specific temperature is called solubility. Here so many words are there, important, every word has meaning. Maximum amount of solute, that is one word, that can be dissolved in a specific amount of solvent. Solvent amount also important here. Maximum amount of solute that can be dissolved in a specific amount of solvent at a specific temperature is called solubility. Here temperature is fixed, no change, temperature is constant. At a specific temperature you take specific amount of solvent. In that solvent how much maximum, that maximum amount, capability, ability of solute that can be dissolved is called solubility. What is solubility? The maximum amount of solute that can be dissolved in a specific amount of solvent, at a specific temperature is called solubility. So it is denoted by S. Solubility is denoted by S. Now you see, solubility depends on, there are 4 factors. Actually solubility depends on 4: nature of solute, nature of solvent, temperature and pressure. What factors influencing solubility? Normally nature of solute, nature of solvent, temperature and pressure. Now first of all we will see the solubility of solids in liquids. In today's class, solvent is liquid like water, solute is solid like salt, sugar. So in today's class I will explain about only this one only, that is solubility of solid in liquids. This solubility of solid in liquids depends only 3. Earlier I told total how many factors? 4 factors. Here only 3. The 3 are nature of solute, nature of solvent and temperature. Which factor is missing here? Pressure is missing, because solubility of solid in liquids is independent of pressure. Now we will see solubility of solid in a liquid. So every solid does not dissolve in a given liquid. For example, you take water, solvent, water. In this water add some sugar. Sugar is soluble in water. Like NaCl, you try with NaCl. NaCl is also soluble in water. Now you take naphthalene. Naphthalene is insoluble in water. Anthracene. Anthracene is also insoluble in water. Here I taken only one solvent, water. In water, sugar and NaCl are soluble, whereas naphthalene and anthracene are insoluble in water. That means every solid does not dissolve in a given liquid, that means water. So you see why it has happened. You take solute, that solute sodium chloride, you try it in water, it is soluble. Sodium chloride is readily soluble in water, yes, already seen. Next you see naphthalene balls. Naphthalene balls, you know naphthalene balls, you make naphthalene balls like powder, you try it in water. Naphthalene in water insoluble. Like naphthalene, one more substance is there, anthracene. Here I changed, instead of water I taken carbon tetrachloride. Carbon tetrachloride. This anthracene is soluble in carbon tetrachloride. So you see, note down this point. Naphthalene and anthracene are insoluble in water. Water is a polar solvent. Water is a polar solvent. Water H2O, it contains charge. In H2O, O carries negative charge, partial negative charge. H carries partial positive charge. Wherever charge is there, then it is called polar solvent. Water is an example for polar solvent. Naphthalene and anthracene are insoluble in water. Not only in water, they are insoluble in polar solvents. Whereas same naphthalene, same anthracene, you take that one, you change solvent, instead of water, you take carbon tetrachloride. Here some mistake is there, they are soluble in carbon tetrachloride. Carbon tetrachloride. Naphthalene and anthracene are soluble in carbon tetrachloride. Carbon tetrachloride CCl4 is an example for non-polar solvent, organic solvent. One more example for organic solvent, either benzene, carbon tetrachloride. These are examples for organic solvents or non-polar solvents. Now you see, in water, some substances are insoluble. Some types of substances are soluble. Why? Because the stronger intermolecular attractions between solute and solvent are more likely to the solute will dissolve. That means what type of attractions are there between solute and solute, solvent and solvent. So then that here type of attractions is playing one important role in solubility. For example, you see, what is the name for this type of attractions? That is like dissolves like. Like dissolves like. Suppose you see children, generally they are from same school, from same age group, they always play with the same age group. One 12th class student always playing with class 12th student or 11th student. He cannot play with the 6th class students because of same age group. Like that here, like dissolves like. So polar are soluble in polar solvents. Polar compounds means ionic compounds. Ionic compounds are soluble in ionic solvent. That means a solvent containing ions. What is the solvent containing ions? Polar solvent. So nature of solute and solvent, like dissolves like. So some substances, polar substances, are soluble in polar solvents. Similarly, example for this, NaCl is soluble in water. Same type, non-polar substances are soluble in non-polar solvents. Example for non-polar substance, that means organic compounds, naphthalene and anthracene. Naphthalene and anthracene are soluble in benzene, ether and CCl4 etc. because these solvents are called non-polar solvents, no ions. Non-polar substances are soluble in non-polar solvents. So non-polar are soluble in non-polar. For example, one more example you take, vitamin A is soluble in non-polar solvents like fats. Fat soluble vitamin is A. Vitamin C is soluble in water. Vitamin C is soluble in water. Vitamin C is soluble in non-polar. Fat soluble vitamins are classified. It will come in a biomolecule chapter. Vitamins are classified into two types: fat soluble vitamins and water soluble vitamins. Water soluble vitamins are B and C type. B vitamin and C vitamins are water soluble, whereas A, D, E, K, these vitamins are fat soluble. Now next you see, when solute is added to solvent, you take 1 spoon or 10 grams or 12 grams of salt and try to dissolve it in 1 glass. If you take 1 color salt, you can observe clearly. So then that solute is entered into solvent slowly, diffusion like this, slowly dissolve, diffusion it will go. So like this dissolution will take place. First step, there are 3 steps. First step is dissolution. Dissolution means before adding solute, what is there in solvent? What is there? Only solvent molecules. Solute molecules is 0. Concentration is 0. After adding solute, slowly one molecule is going and dissolution is taking place. So that means concentration of solute increases. First step is dissolution. Concentration of solute increases. You see in this class, here any student is there? No. No student. Class is empty because of this COVID-19. No classes. Class is there, empty class. No student. Here only solvent is there, no solute. Now one by one, now one student is there. I am ready to teach, but students not there. Suppose one student, now after that you just imagine there is no COVID-19, that a lockdown is made unlocked. Now every student came into class. Now what is the capacity of the class? You know, class capacity is 40 members. First one member came, 2, 3, 4, like that, one by one they are coming. So inside concentration increase up to 100, 200, no, it will reach up to 40. After 40, what will happen? If it is more than 40, is it possible? No. If anybody came more than 40, they have to go outside. So when solute is added to solvent, initially dissolution takes place, concentration is increased. What is the step 2? Crystallization. What is crystallization? In this solution, solute already dissolved, solute molecules inside collisions takes place. Because of collisions, some molecules lost energy. If a molecule lost energy, then that molecule is converted into solid. You just try to remember last year class lesson. Solid, liquid, gas. Which one has more energy? Gases have more energy. If gas molecules lost the energy, it will come to liquid state. If liquid molecule lost the energy, it has to come to solid state. In this present solution state, collisions there, inside collisions. Because of collisions, some solute molecules, they lose energy. Because of loss of energy, they are converted into solid state. That means solution is converted into solid state. You can call it as precipitation or you can call it as crystallization. Second step is crystallization. First step is dissolution. Again I will explain here. When a solid solute is added to the solvent, some solute dissolves and its concentration increases in solution. This process is known as dissolution. Some solute particles in solution collide with the solid solute particles and get separated out the solution. This process is known as crystallization. Now we will see third step. Step 3. In step 3, establishment of equilibrium between dissolution and crystallization. So that means there dissolution is will taking place, at the same time crystallization also will take place. Both will take place with equal rates. So dynamic equilibrium is there. That means between dissolution and crystallization. This is establishment of equilibrium. Once this equilibrium established, then that solution is called saturated solution. What is saturated solution? At this state, concentration of dissolved and undissolved state becomes constant. This type of solution is called saturated solution. There exists an equilibrium between amount of solute in dissolved state, amount of solute in undissolved state. So solutions are classified into 3 types based on solubility: saturated solution, unsaturated solution. Third one is supersaturated solution. A saturated solution means a saturated solution contains the maximum amount of solute that will dissolve in a given solvent at a specific temperature. Now you see, you are watching classes from your house. So you can watch up to 4 periods or 5. So that is maximum. As a class 12th student, you can watch 5 videos and learn. So that is the maximum level. So per you, suppose 10 or 15 videos given means it is not possible. That is super saturated. If it is 1 or 2 given means you are also not satisfied, you want some more. So what is unsaturated solution? Unsaturated solution contains less solute, then it has the capacity to dissolve. Your capacity is 5 classes. For you 2 classes provided. You are asking some more. So that is unsaturated. Your capacity is 5, forcefully given n more 5. So that is super saturated. So that is no use at all. A third type, a super saturated solution contains more solute than is present in saturated solution. Super saturated solutions are not very stable. So immediately whatever you watched you will forget. That is no use if excess amount is there. So I understood, based on amount of solute soluble, solutions are classified. Saturated means required amount, unsaturated less than the required amount. Supersaturated means more than the required amount. It is highly unstable. Now you will see solubility of solid in liquids depending on temperature also. I explained up to now nature of the solute and solvent, polar, non-polar, like this. So depending on temperature, exothermic, effect of temperature, solubility of solid in liquid is affected by temperature change. Suppose you take exothermic solution, already in this class starting I explained, exothermic solution means because of formation of solution, heat energy is released. Enthalpy is negative, heat energy is released. Heat liberated in the dissolving process is greater than heat required to break the solid. So this is called exothermic solution. According to Le Chatelier principle, for exothermic solution, low temperature is required. Low temperature is required. So if heat of solution is negative, as temperature increases, solubility decreases. It needs low temperature. Low temperatures always favors exo. But you are increasing temperature here. Temperature increasing, solubility decrease. You can see here in graph. As temperature increases, solubility decreases. For what type of solution this type curve? Solubility down, going down, down. Solubility decreases. As temperature increases, solubility decreases. This type of solution is exothermic. Next you say endothermic. What is endothermic? Heat given in the dissolving reaction is less than heat required. Here heat is required. Solute plus solvent and some more heat you have to provide, then only solution will form. Solute plus solvent plus heat. So then solution will form. So it is endothermic. For endothermic, according to Le Chatelier principle, high temperature is required. That means you are increasing temperature, solubility increase. You see graph, as temperature increases, solubility increases. It is rising curve. So for endothermic solutions, as temperature increases, solubility increases. Now you see some uses of solubility principle. Ammonium nitrate, already given example for endothermic solute. Ammonium nitrate is used in instant cold pack. If you want to make like ice instantly, immediately, then you have to dissolve some ammonium nitrate in water. It is endothermic process. It takes heat from surrounding and it absorbs heat from surrounding and automatically it become like ice type substance. It is an endothermic process, that is it requires heat. Heat is drawn from the surroundings and the pack feels cold. So per instant ice, per instant you make instant cold packs. So this solubility principle is used. So what about next factor? nature of solute over nature of solvent over temperature, effect of temperature over. I told effect of pressure. There is no effect of pressure on solubility of solids in liquids. Solubility of solid in liquids is independent of pressure. Why? Because this solubility of solid in liquids is independent of pressure, since solids and liquids do not compress appreciably. Compression is not possible. When the pressure is increased, actually you are increasing pressure. You have to compress. Compression is not possible in the case of solids and liquids. So that's why there is no effect of pressure. Here I given some MCQs. You try to answer these questions. Which of the following factor do not affect solubility of solid solute in liquid? Which of the following factor do not affect solubility of solid solute in liquid? What is the answer? Yes, pressure. Why? Pressure is solids are non-compressible. Second question. When a solid solute is added to this solvent, some solute dissolves and its concentration increases. From 0 to concentration increases. This process is known as, what is the process? Yes, dissolution. Some solute particles in the solution collide with the solid solute particles and get separated out of the solution. This process, what is the process name? Yes, crystallization. Dissolution and crystallization. Next, third question is, which of the following statement is incorrect? A solution in which no more solute can be dissolved at the same temperature and pressure is called saturated. Same temperature, pressure. An unsaturated solution is one which is more solute can be dissolved at the same temperature. Unsaturated means some more is required. The solution which is dynamic equilibrium with the undissolved state is the saturated solution. The minimum amount of solute dissolved in a given amount of solvent is called solubility. Minimum amount of solute dissolved, so it is wrong. So solubility means maximum amount of solute. Ability is maximum. Next question is, on dissolving sugar in water at room temperature, solution feel cool to touch. Under which of the following cases dissolution of sugar will be most rapid? So you are feeling cool, that means endothermic. It is taking heat from your body. Heat is absorbed, endothermic. Endothermic process powers at high temperature. You select high temperature from this, so that means at hot water. Hot water. Next question is, maximum amount of solute that can be dissolved in a specific amount of given liquid solvent does not depend upon, that means solid in liquid does not depend upon pressure. Okay, so this question repeated. A beaker contains solution of substance A. Precipitation of substance A takes place when small amount of A is added to the solution. This is known as supersaturated. Okay, thank you. In next class I will explain about solubility of gas in liquid. Okay, thank you.